Call the March Town Council meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone. We will begin with prayer from Reverend Duck, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Reverend Duck.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we're very grateful for this beautiful day that you've provided. I pray that each council member this evening will be filled with wisdom, guidance in this meeting to make the right decisions. Remind us, as stated in Psalm 133, that it is good when we dwell in unity, and we can accomplish great things when we do that. We trust your guidance, we trust your grace, and we give you praise. All done in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Let's stand and pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Well, it finally feels like spring. We have sprung forward, and hopefully that spring will move our community forward. Unfinished business, approval of modifications to the bylaws and rules of procedure for the Appomattox Town Council.
If it would please council, if you look at the CAF form that's attached there, it goes over the three modifications that were proposed to the bylaws and rules of procedure. Page 3 of those rules, the parliamentarian is being modified from the town attorney to the deputy town clerk. And on page 4, section E, order of business, agenda preparation, the third paragraph that requires the transmittal of approved minutes to the Jamerson Library has been struck. Spoke with the director of the library, who had agreed that since those are in a digital form now, there would be no need to provide the bound copy. And then there was a modification for Scrivener's error in the spelling of council on the bottom of page 2. And those are the modifications.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I will approve the attached modified version of the bylaws and rules of procedure to encompass those modifications.
Motion to hear second. Motion made and properly seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. The ayes have it, the motion carries. On to new business. Public hearing on the proposed amendment to Chapter 28 subdivisions of the Town Code, which amendment removes certain minimum lot size requirements for lots served by public water and or public sewer systems to avoid potential conflict with similar provisions in other portions of the Town Code.
This matter was held, public hearing was held last week with the Planning Commission. This is simply no more than an ordinance cleanup. We had a subdivision come through, we reviewed it, and after getting in a more detailed review, we realized this section still required larger lot sizes. But back in 2022, we approved an R3 amendment to allow a much smaller lot size and square footage. So it's just a matter of just striking it out of the ordinance and cleaning it up. Every zoning district has its own minimum requirements for lot size and road frontage for water requirements, so it's really not needed. And the Planning Commission did vote to move it forward to your approval.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion made and properly seconded. Any additional discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. The ayes have it, the motion carries. Next, public hearing for the proposed amendment to Town Code, Chapter 36 zoning, which amendment will add townhouses to the permitted uses in the R3 General Residential District, subject to provisions related to density, lot area, setbacks, and other requirements applicable to such townhouses?
During the comp plan, we heard a lot about alternative housing, other options. We also had developers who approached the town interested in doing townhouses for sale after review of the ordinance. We don't even have a provision to allow that. So this is nothing more than making an amendment to the R3 to allow townhouses for sale as a permitted use with its own criteria. It was held by Planning Commission last week. A local realtor stepped forward and he supports it. And Planning Commission voted in favor to send it to you for approval.
Entertain a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and properly seconded. Any further discussion? Was all this resulting of the two proposals we recently approved for the plan?
No, those are basically for rental market, but we have had inquiries for townhouses, and then obviously during the Planning Commission, the comprehensive plan discussion, it was brought up. Townhouses provide a unique opportunity to bring different people in at different levels of age and economic stability.
Well, the townhouses that already exist in town, how did they
Not sure.
get approved? I mean, there's Jamerson, I'm just,
Well, those are apartments. These would be townhouses for sale that people could purchase.
he calls them townhouses.
Yeah, but they're townhouse apartments. These are strictly just townhouses for
Because I
sale.
That's rental property
have
versus-
families who live
Yeah,
in some.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's all this is.
Yeah, well, honestly, that was a great addition because we need more housing diversity.
Yeah, exactly.
For people to enter into this market, so well
Yep.
done.
This is one of those who knows, right?
Yeah. But that's it.
This is supporting, it's kind of sort of in the same vein as a workforce housing with the apartments. This is another step to hopefully be able to keep some youth here. And also for, not just youth, but for folks who get to a point where they're done with taking care of their yard. So I think it's a great thing for us to be adding.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. The ayes have it, the motion carries.
Good, awesome.
Mr. David Carter, Director of Utilities, will appear before council to discuss emergency repairs required for the wastewater treatment plant. Mr. Carter.
Thank you. So I'm here before council tonight to ask for some additional funding for our SBR plant. We have incurred some electrical issues. We found back over the winter, we were having some problems with our influent building and doing some further digging. We had some wires burn up. We used up our spares, and so when spring come, we figured we were going to have some issues with some conduit. We got to digging outside the building and found that roughly 35 conduit they were rigid galvanized, originally laid probably in the late 90s, early 2000s when we built that plant. Every one of them are deteriorated or deteriorating, so they have holes you can push your finger through. So basically, that is going to the influent buildings, control wires and power wires. So that led us to dig a little bit further into it and find that our main power, utility power and generator power both, are in the same deteriorating condition. So we are potentially in a serious emergency situation, because if we lose utility power and or generator power, you're a sitting duck. So I've come tonight to request an additional fund of $177,000. I understand this isn't a large number. Hopefully we'll be able to cut back on that sum, but we have got massive electrical issues that we've got to fix. We've got to have an emergency generator on standby, because when we disconnect the main lines coming in, we've got to be able to operate the plant. So that includes the generator rental that we have to bring in, and it's no small unit. I mean, this is a tractor trailer unit it takes to run this plant. With that, we'll renew all of our conduit that's not plastic in the ground, get all the wires sorted out. We've got over 23,000 foot of wire that we've got to pull. So it's a lot of control and a lot of power. So just, it'll probably be roughly 4 weeks in the making for this entire project. We hope that we can get the generator in and out within a week. But hopefully, you know, we're in a position now to make corrective decisions. If we don't move on this and these lines fail, you know, we may not be as lucky to be in this position. So it's not necessarily an if, but when situation.
What's that dollar amount again?
177,000.
And who's gonna do the work, the electrical work?
We have Henderson Electrical
Okay.
contracted.
Is this a site off of Ethel Street?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And David, correct me if I'm wrong, but the sunshine in this, if there is any, is the wiring that will be running back will be capable of powering a SBR plant twice the size of the one that we have currently.
Correction on that.
Okay?
Speaking with the engineers, they're not far enough along to predict what we may or may not need in this expansion.
Okay.
So therefore, we're having to go back with original work. And their reasoning behind that is if we go and double the size, which is definitely going to drive the cost up even more, it may be something we have to rip out in the future to meet the standard for the doubling of the plant.
Understood.
But I understand that was the last thing you and I talked about. We didn't have a chance to brief before we had this meeting.
I was
this
just
evening,
looking for a
'cause
silver
everything-
lining.
So, sorry to pop that bubble. But,
So, do we feed any chlorine out of that building?
no,
at all?
sir. Mm-mm.
Soil,
No,
it rusted from outside in?
Yeah, so the rigid conduit is a galvanized conduit, which I'm sure you're well familiar with, that was run under the slab and stubbed out roughly 8 foot outside of the pad, and then everything as the plant developed and was built in the construction phases was switched over to PVC conduit. So everything under the pad can potentially be rotted. We don't know what shape the wires are in. That's why we're having to replace these wires. Control wires, if any of you are familiar with, you know, are finicky. Power wire is a little different, but when we get to pulling these controls, we have to pull all new wires because you can't have any splices or junctions in them. They have to be a straight run from a piece of equipment into our SCADA system that operates the plant. So
Specify the new conduit to be American-made, not Chinese pipe.
it is a rigid aluminum, but if you want to specify American-made, I'm sure we can certainly accommodate.
Because that's what we running into a lot, it come from China conduit that's supposed to last 100 years and it ain't.
Well, because this is under slab, the cost would be tremendous to replace it exactly where it lays. So we're actually going to run PVC in the ground to a junction box, even though it'll be a continuous run of wire. But in that junction box, we'll actually transfer over to rigid aluminum and run up and over instead of through the pad. Because if we have to get through walls and jackhammer concrete inside that plant, your costs are going to be astronomical. So I'm trying to keep this as simple as I can.
And let me speak to that from my vast experience from Buy America. We will certainly ensure that the materials used are the proper materials with the proper certifications and properly inspected as installed. However, to specify Buy America as a stipulation of this could potentially double or triple the cost of what we're looking at doing. That's not to say that what goes in the ground won't be American-made. I'm saying that every time I've had to deal with Buy America from a federal funding level, it has substantially increased the cost of the materials used. So, but there are other ways, shop drawings, your specifications that come with the thing to make sure that what we're getting is a decent product. And I would expect that our engineer, who figured out that we can't double our electrical capacity just because I want to.
Who's gonna do the engineering, gonna draw it up?
We're working currently with CHA on the project. That does not mean they are drawing the plant solely, but that's who I'm working with currently on a lot of these projects, which actually fits into the master utility plan as well. So, I mean, it's kind of a draw off on that as well.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the $177,000 request for allocation to Public Works.
Is this gonna be coming out of our general fund, or do we have?
This will be coming out of our unassigned fund balance for
Unassigned.
sewer. So we'll be going into our savings for sewer.
Okay.
Second? Yep. Motion made and properly seconded to approve $177,000 for the repair of the electrical issues at the SBR plant. Any further discussion?
Sound like a lot of work. It's only gonna take a month to do, you think?
Yeah, it's it is definitely a lot of work. Pulling the wires, everything down there is red in color, so we've got to trace each wire, and as we take things offline, a system offline, we've got to get all that hooked back up and put the conduit in together. So it is a lot of work. I mean, it's not a one-day job where you just pull a handful of wires and wire everything up. We've got to take systems down offline, install the new wiring and conduit, reinstall the system and get everything back up and running. So, and some things are simple. Some things are just unplug and plug back up. But some things are a little more complex and just take a little more skill and time to get them back up and running.
We'll have a contract from whoever's doing the contract work, be a contract signed, I guess, I'm assuming. It ain't gonna be about an hour.
Yeah, I mean, so as an emergency project, really, I want, yes, I mean, we're gonna have invoices sent in, they're gonna be reviewed, we're gonna sign off of them, we'll get a final invoice. We can get a formal, charge, I guess. I mean, we're not doing man and materials right now.
So this is not a turnkey job. He's not giving you a quote to do all this. It's just, this is what he thinks it's gonna cost.
I will confirm with him, but that, as far as I know, that is his plus the generator cost plus a contingency to cover
Yeah,
that.
well,
I don't wanna get in there, it's gonna take him 3 or 4 months to do it, and he runs into all this other stuff, and we done tripled this.
right. Well, so what I could say is that the only work we will have a contract, but we're in a different situation because this is an emergency project. So
Understood.
yeah, so even the coming to you for the $177,000 is it's informational. Like we don't have a choice. It's not something that we allocate or that you know how I do business. I would prefer a vote on everything, and I want you all to always be fully invested in what we're doing. But in this sort of thing, we just have to do it. And yeah, I mean, we can get. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to provide a scope and for us to sign. But nothing, they're not going to get paid for anything. Change orders, force account, or anything that's not authorized through our oversight. I mean, they're not out there running roughshod, So the price that they've given us, and is a 10% contingency we put on it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 10% contingency, and then understanding the cost of bringing in a semi-sized generator. I feel comfortable with the numbers that he's brought before you, being it is what it is. If it changes, you'll obviously be updated.
What's the generator go for?
So
Roughly $11,000.
yeah.
For
For a
which-
second.
And the rate changes because we have to run on a 24-hour period, so the way they charge those, it's a lower rate if you run them between 0 and 8 hours, 8 and 16 hours, and then 16 and above. And that is a weekly because it's a larger generator. They don't rent it by the day, so it's either a weekly or a monthly fee. So you're looking at a 1 week rental on that is roughly $11,000.
And you can reuse the generator that's out when you go back with
Yes.
everything, yeah.
Yeah, all of that, so everything that's there will be reused with the exception of the wire and the conduit. And I'll be pleased to come back in a month, month and a half and let you know, how we stand on this. And hopefully I can report that we come in well under this 177,000, but this should be enough to, don't want to tell you, because if I have to come back and ask for another 30,000, I don't want to be the one standing here. But, hopefully we should be able to tell you it was under this.
Well, it's always better to ask for more than anticipated for the reason that David just described. And if it comes in at less, yay.
And that's why we have a 10% contingency, which is a fairly standard best practice for any construction contract, any kind of work like this, is to understand that there are things, hopefully small things, that pop up. Overrunning gravel or, have to undercut a little extra dirt or something like that. But on the flip side of this, as David described, it's a very tedious thing. It's also not rocket science either. So I feel comfortable with the estimate that they've given us because it's pretty straightforward what they have to do to get from A to B.
All right?
Any further questions?
Thank y'all.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. The ayes have the motion. Pardon me. Roll call vote. Mr. Garrett.
Yes.
Mr. Hensley.
Yes.
Mr. Boyce.
Yes.
Mr. Cardwell.
Yes.
Ms. Ulmer.
Yes.
Ms. Spiegel.
Yes.
Vote is 6-0, the motion carries. Item 5, council review and approval of the town manager's request for tuition reimbursement for doctoral coursework. Is that in the package, Michael?
It was when I
Okay,
should be in the.
probably the
If it
last
pleases
thing.
council, I think it's on page 40 of your agenda.
Flip all the way to the back.
$41.
Forty is the council action form, and then the supporting data is 41 and 42.
So the purpose of me bringing you this is I think fairly obvious. The town will and has, I assume has done tuition reimbursement as authorized by the town manager. However, I am not going to authorize myself tuition reimbursement. So I defer to council.
Okay. Give me a moment.
This class is gonna be University of Lynchburg.
Well, that's not settled. I have,
Okay.
the primary programs I'm looking at, though if you look at the educational objective, you'll see the primary programs I'm looking at are the DPAs of Doctor of Public Administration through Liberty University, the Doctor of Executive Leadership, which is University of Lynchburg, and there's a Doctor of Public Policy at Liberty as well. But I have not, I've completed my master's, my MBA, the second master's, I completed that like a week and a half ago, so I have not applied to any institution. I haven't settled on a particular program. I do, however, lay out parameters that obviously whatever program I select would be applicable to the line of work that I'm in and what I do for the town. I also made sure to include that when you pass this, I have, where's the line? I wanted to make sure that was in there because, here we go. Tuition assistance will be provided in an amount generally consistent with in-state tuition rates at Virginia public universities for comparable doctoral level coursework. I'm not expecting the town to pay me to go to Harvard. So I just did include that as a
Will
financial.
come back a different person if you do Harvard.
Well, that could be said about
Now,
some
today's Harvard.
Virginia universities too, but yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Does this require a motion?
Motion, yep. Roll call vote.
Okay, I will make that motion that we approve this, the town manager's request for tuition reimbursement for doctoral coursework.
I'll second.
Motion made and properly seconded. Any discussion?
Do we have a dollar amount, or is that irrelevant?
Well, generally speaking, for doctoral work, everything I found with regards to that statement about in-state tuition is roughly, it goes between $600 and $900 a credit hour, but the different programs have different lengths. The budget that was presented to you for FY27 includes enough money to cover however much I take on.
You or the rest of the staff?
Obviously, yes, sir. That definitely includes the rest of the staff. It's not just for me. But I can tell you that it looks like the total cost for the programs that I mentioned, Liberty's, the DPA, the DPP, and the University of Lynchburg, are generally between $32,000 and $46,000 to be completed over. Yeah, I mean, if let's say I did the Liberty DPA and I just went as fast as I did through, I don't know, my other two courses, then I probably would have it completed in 3 years.
Would there be some kind of clause or something where you didn't finish the degree and then ran off to another job? No.
We can't tell our employees, you cannot better yourself, because we're afraid that if you do, you'll take a different job because he's not a prisoner here, nor are we. I mean, that's just the way it works.
Well, I just wondered because the county school is doing that with a colleague of mine. She's getting her special ed master's, and we've come up with this plan to team teach for the collab, but they wanted us to guarantee that we would commit
For so many
3
years.
Yeah,
For how many years?
3.
3. Yeah, I've seen that
So I was
before.
just wondering.
Yeah.
That was.
Most companies do have that requirement in there, and
I'm sorry.
most companies out in the public sector, or private sector, I should say, pardon my miscall, have a retention requirement before you're not obligated to reimburse the company. So I understand where she's coming from. I know the school does that. is something we need to consider with anybody, not just you, but with any of our team members. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? No. Pardon me, by roll call vote due to the nature. Ms. Spiegel,
Yes.
Ms. Ulmer,
Yes.
Mr. Cardwell,
Yes.
Mr. Boyce,
Yes.
Mr. Hensley,
Yes.
Mr. Garrett.
No.
By a vote of 5-1, motion carries. Is there any other new business come before the council at this time? Council standing committee reports.
None that I know of.
I just wanted to just say for the council event, we did have a public forum with all the eighth graders at the middle school. And the interest there is incredibly palpable. And I was talking with Danielle, and basically, I mean, these kids are really rearing and ready to go. We have a great populace of them. When I walked into the building, I can't tell you how many kids came up to me, shook my hand and said, "Hello, sir, how are you doing?" You know, it was just, it's very great to see who is upcoming, who is actually taking their stride to be able to do that. And so when I was able to present to the 100 students that were there, they had a lot of ideas. They've been hearing from a lot of different people, even their parents talking to them. So they knew all about our water issues. They were talking about mental health. They were talking about drug and rehab facilities. So it's something that, you know, these are on kids' minds, and they're ready to go for it. And then we had a meeting last Thursday where we finalized all of our planning. So the Council for a Day will take place on April 23rd here at the Town Hall. We are finagling with a couple things that I'll bring up to y'all at workshop. The main thing is that it has to do with the size of this building and the people that we can fit in here. Because we only have I think we have fire code was 55. Yeah, so we're trying to figure out how you get 7 students plus a couple of committee members, even council members, chaperones, and then people that we invite. So we're trying to get those numbers together. We'll have a projection as to how comfortable we feel to have all of us there, or if we need to think about some other numbers here or there, or maybe even have a swing in and out of the building depending on what happens. But I'll get back to y'all and see what we can figure out.
What day of the week is April 21st?
Oh, sorry, the 23rd. It's the Thursday.
I believe it's a Thursday.
Yes.
On Thursday?
Yeah, it's gonna be a
At what
Thursday
time
evening.
would that be?
Right now, the current agenda is that the students would be here at the town hall. Those who are selected, the 7, will be here from 3:30, and then the mock council meeting would start at 6:30, ending at 7:30, and then a social afterwards for all those who helped as well as the kids.
Thank you, McKinley. Citizen comments. Glad to have you on board, though. Town managers report. Mr. Campbell.
The only thing that I have to add off the top of my head is I'm still efforting towards getting a contract for the fireworks.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, great.
I'll forward it to you in a minute.
I'll get that signed. I'm scared to death of being the reason why we don't have fireworks on 3rd of July. So, aside from the fireworks, I think that, I just want to express the fact that, I'm very proud of our staff. You know, I don't know if you've noticed with our budget schedule, but I essentially moved up everything a month. And that was difficult, and that's why people were working this afternoon here to try to make sure we had everything buttoned up. And then lastly, I'd like to express my appreciation to council for approving my tuition reimbursement. And I look forward to starting a program and letting you know exactly what that is and where it's at.
Thank you, sir. Council comment, council comment. Ms. Ulmer.
Yes, sir. I want to brag on Councilmember McKinley because the organization that he's done with this Mayor for a Day has been great. It's been efficient, and the principal and the teachers, I unfortunately wasn't able to be there the day he presented. I was in Salem, but I heard compliments up and down about how engaging he was and how much the students liked it. And I think it served well, McKinley, because even some of my students that aren't necessarily interested in anything scholastic, they're engaged and they're talking. And we did a survey at the school through the civics classes of all the possible problems that they could look into. I wrote those all on the board today. We discussed all of them, and then they came up with new ones themselves. And I just want to thank you, too, for inviting me on the committee. I'm glad to be a part of it.
Mr. Hensley.
I do not.
Mr. Cardwell.
I'm sorry, I do have to rocket it back to her now just because of that. No, but just from all the help of our committee members, there has been a lot of stuff. I'm not great at grammar. I'm not good at putting certain things together. So having actual educators has been wonderful. She's basically built our rubric for this, so that's been absolutely wonderful. And then working at the middle school, I mean, like I didn't expect the numbers we were going to get until she started putting her foot down and talking with administration. And she even sent me a video of this massive bulletin board, and basically it's all about the Mayor for a Day essay. So it even has Richard actually centered on it, and essentially all of our contact information and our faces, and so it's just been really cool just to see everything come together. So it has been not the effort of just me, but the effort of everybody, and Danielle's really been a huge part of that.
Have they picked the mayor and the council people yet?
No, so the deadline for that is March 23rd, and we have until April 2nd to make all those choices. So I've given myself a 48-hour window to go through a AI and plagiarism check for roughly, we're looking at an estimate of 100 essays right now, and then it'll go to 2 graders who will then give 2 individual scores, which then I will bring back to my log and tally up. So we have 10 days to do all that process. Once we have that next meeting, which will be April 2nd, we will get down to the final 7. And then after the final 7, we'll have 2 recommendations, one for mayor, one for vice mayor. That will go to Michael, and I forgot to tell you about this. I'm only giving you a 24-hour window to make your selection. I talked to some of these teachers and everything, because we want to get this stuff down, and we have to have the invitations out to these kids so that they can be prepared to come that evening to be celebrated and to have their mock meeting.
Good thing we don't have to do all that to get elected.
Yeah.
Just go door to door.
And we at the middle school, we are going to be pushing a very high percentage of them to be turned in to the state as
Okay,
well.
very good.
I'm just so excited that you've been able to get students excited about civics and participating in local government activities, and this will help them to understand what it's all about, and and coming up with all these issues. I think it's a wonderful project.
Thank you, McKinley. Mr. Boyce.
I have nothing.
Ms. Spiegel.
Nothing.
Mr. Garrett.
No, I'm good.
Anyone have anything else come before the town council at this time? Why are you?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion made, properly second to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Thank you.